Hello, hello, hello. Wednesday morning. We are right here with you, getting you ready for week 7. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam Ronis with you. Fantasy Life on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. I cannot believe it's already week 7. The good times just keep rolling at them. No one on the waiver wire. Everyone's hurt. I mean, it's fine. We're just going to get through it. We've got a great show for you today. We're talking with the one and only Matthew Berry here in the second hour, getting his best advice for week 7 and everything that comes along with it. Adam, how you doing? How's it going? All your waiver wire dreams come true last night?
Only a few
Johnson.
waiver wires ran for me. A lot of mine are on Wednesday,
Okay.
but looking through them, it is depressing because I play in a lot of deep leagues with 20 roster spots. There is not much on the waiver wire this week. There's some fill-ins, obviously. We know there are a lot of injuries at wide receiver,
Yep.
so there might be some players that are 1 week plays, 2 week plays, but yeah, it's pretty bad.
It's not great to say to say the least. I think I don't know. I put in a couple bids, for a Tez Johnson, a Sterling Shepard, maybe. I was surprised that in one Sterling Shepard was still out there, but yeah, some of my receivers, my receiver room specifically, I really need CeeDee Lamb back this week. That would make everything a lot better. But like DJ Moore getting hospitalized and then coming back later, that was something that I didn't think would mess me up, but it kind of did a little bit. So you're just looking ahead, like Juwan Jennings playing with what is it, 10 broken ribs or something
Yeah,
like that.
20
Two
ribs,
two
like
high ankle sprains, which I didn't even think was possible, a shoulder injury. So I don't expect. I don't know. I don't even know why he was out there last week then, but here we are. I think that's the big question I saw coming into us at K Valenzuela 17 at Adam Ronis over there on X. If you have questions, is between Tez Johnson, Sterling Shepard, Cade Ott. I'll even throw Cade Otton in there because we expect Mike Evans to be back this week for Tampa Bay. So we have to really lower some expectations for these guys stepping up and being waiver wire heroes for week 7. But out of those three, and maybe I need to take Cade Otton out of there because maybe he does just get the biggest bump out of everyone. His target share was 25% in week 6. So maybe he is the answer and he is the tight end streamer that you want to go and get this week. With Evans back, I think maybe it lowers that a little bit, but he has 12.1, 10.1 fantasy points the last 2 games. And in that, when it was 3 games last season, we talked about this yesterday, but the 3 games in 2024, he averaged 22.9 fantasy points over those 3 games when they were without all three. I think at one point they were without all 3 of their wide receivers there. So who is the answer to you? Or the answer could be no one, maybe. Maybe it's just Mike Evans.
well, look, I think in deeper leagues you're gonna have to do something. Shepard is probably like the safest in terms of he's gonna play the slot and he's gonna be on the field a lot. Now he doesn't have that high ceiling, so you're maybe looking at 8 to 10 points in a PPR. Tez Johnson is the MVP candidate, so according to him, but
That video was so funny.
he only had 1 reception. It was for 45 yards and a touchdown. He's not a big receiver, but he does have that big playability. So, probably him next. But yeah, I think in deeper formats, you probably are looking at some of these guys, especially if you have Puka Nacua, Emeka Egbuka,
Garrett
Calvin
Wilson.
Ridley, yeah, Garrett Wilson.
Keep going.
Yeah, I know. Trust me, I know. I
Keep
have
going.
like 3 of those guys on one roster and then 2 on another. It's like I can't believe this is happening.
I
But
know.
so yeah, we are looking at those players because the one thing we have seen is Baker Mayfield. It doesn't matter who is out there; he will find a way to get them the football. And they are in a game Monday against Detroit that has a very high total. So maybe it falls apart for Tampa, and
Yeah.
Baker finally can't get nothing done, and these injuries catch up. But so far, he's been able to produce with whoever's on the field. So, yeah, I think you are looking at these guys in deeper formats, or even in a more shallow format where you're looking for a 1 week fill in.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Baker Mayfield's going to this game actually is a pretty good matchup for them, right? If you're looking at Sterling Shepard and want to squint and tell yourself that everything's going to be okay. I mean, the first part of this is that he has had a good connection. He's established that connection with Baker Mayfield. I think that's really important with him. So they've not only established that connection, he looks he looks better though too. Sterling Shepard does from when I think it was 2021 Achilles 2022 ACL. So he's been down with a couple injuries before. But the other part of this is you said it, this game. So Tampa Bay is taking on the Lions. This has an over under 52.5 points. And there's a whole list of Lions cornerbacks that they're going to be without. They're going to be without, I think, Brian Branch, unless that
he's suspended. Yeah,
he did. And he tried to get that overturned, right? But it didn't work.
I didn't see if he appealed it.
Okay. All right. I'll look. I thought he appealed that, but I think we would get an answer by that for today. And on top of all of that, the Lions are number 3 in largest fantasy boost allowed to wide receivers. So Sterling Shepard, you're right. I think that's a good play if you have to. I understand Tez Johnson as well. MVP Tez Johnson, and then Kate Otten. We might be talking to people this week that go for not all 3 on the same team, obviously, but all 3 of those guys getting in starter positions here for week 7, which will be okay. I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, you think it'll always be fine.
Yeah, so. I know. One of these guys isn't going to work out, and it's going to be the one that I choose to start. So maybe I'll just let people know on Friday which one I'm starting, and then they can go ahead and bench him.
You should probably see, I would think, more dump-offs to the running backs too, Rachaad White, maybe even Sean Tucker a little bit more. Tucker did get a touchdown this past week. Still, it's Rachaad White's backfield. But, yeah, I mean, that is an environment where they're probably going to have to put up points.
Yeah. I mean, 52.5, that has to be the highest total of the week, right?
Oh, yeah. I don't even know if there's another at 50 this week. No. Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Cowboys Commanders is 55.5.
What? 55.5?
But it makes sense, though.
Well,
Dallas
does,
Dallas averages like 29.7 and gives up over 30.
Oh, my goodness. There's some okay games this week.
All right, you want to hear the Cowboys totals this year? The last few weeks? 57, 59, 80, 45, 77 in overtime, and 44. Man. So they haven't had a game lower than a 44. That was week 1 against the Eagles, and we know why. The Eagles just can't score. But every other game has been at least 45, which, again, how the hell did the Cowboys score 14 against the Bears? That's what I want to know.
No, you don't actually want to know that, probably. That is just so funny. The 80 points that one week was just absolutely insane. I can't.
80,
I have no.
So they've had 80 and 77 in their 2 overtime games. But yeah, the last 2 weeks though, 59 and 57. So yeah,
perfect.
You understand why.
I'm not even kidding. I'm just putting it out there into the universe again because CeeDee Lamb really needs to make his return.
I think he's playing.
I think he is too, because if you don't, then that's 4 weeks. You might as well have put him on IR.
Well, teams have made that mistake before.
Oh, for sure. No, we know that. George Pickens too. I mean, George Pickens I was looking at our not early now because it's Wednesday, but we've got our rankings up at fantasylife.com. I'm going to update mine here after the show. But yeah, I mean, George Pickens, for what it's worth and what he's been able to do, he's just looked really good. He's got a favorable matchup going up against the Commanders, number 5 and largest fantasy boost allowed to wide receivers. And with Dak Prescott, I mean, for what it's worth, Dak Prescott, if you have him in fantasy, it hasn't been awful. You know what I mean? It's just been, maybe for you as a Cowboys fan, it hasn't been the best, but he's 30 and 13 against the spread in these games for the NFC East. So you're good to go.
He's played very well. He has played at a very high level and has kept them competitive in games. It's just the defense cannot stop anyone, and that's the biggest problem for them. But for fantasy too, I figured this was going to be the case for Dak, and even with CeeDee Lamb out, that's what's the most impressive.
Yeah.
You took away his best weapon, and we've seen George Pickens can be a 1, and he's playing like a 1 right now. So even with Lamb back, I think Pickens will still be very good for fantasy. He won't obviously play to the level that we have seen recently because he's not going to get as many targets. But, I still think he'll get 7, 8 targets because, again, they're going to be passing a lot. They're going to be playing in these high-scoring games, and, the absence of Lamb has allowed Dak to develop a rapport with Pickens, and, now he's more comfortable with him, and we did see, week 1, when Lamb was there, Pickens only had 4 targets because Quinshon Mitchell was on him most of the time.
Yeah.
And then the week 2 game where Lamb played, Pickens had 9 targets and hit a 5 for 68 and a touchdown. So, with the way this offense is putting up points, I think Pickens will be fine. Again, he won't be. You might have ranked him as a wide receiver 1 the last few weeks. Now he'll be more in the wide receiver 2 range.
Yeah, high-end wide receiver too, though. You'll take
Yes.
that. You'll take that anytime. It's kind of the expectation that you had when you drafted him, anyways. And then you did get the boost, like we always say, we never want injuries, but you got the boost when CeeDee Lamb went down. So now you just bring your expectations back to probably when you drafted him, which is still, I mean, you're always going to take a high-end wide receiver too on a team like this, like you've mentioned, that just has to score because their defense is so bad. They're always going to be in those game scripts where Dak Prescott's going to be out there almost the whole time, and they're just going to have to continue going through the air. Do you think they get a deal done with George Pickens? You think they keep him around? That's the question I was looking at too yesterday, because they're paying him. He's on his rookie deal, so his salary. I mean, they're getting a really nice value for what he's being able to produce for them so far. I think he's at I'll round up 3.7 million this year with that salary, but that it's coming soon where they're going to have to make a decision whether it's extend him, tag him, or let him walk away as a free agent. I think 2026, I was looking into it. It's probably going to be, the franchise tag for 2026 is going to be near or a little bit higher than 25 million. That's what you're looking at there. It's going to be
Yeah,
interesting.
it's going to be tough because we've seen how it works out with the Bengals when you pay two wide receivers a lot of money. It hurts the rest of the roster, right?
Man,
So
they think they're going to let him walk?
I don't know. I think they want to keep him. It's just,
It's
can they afford to
difficult.
pay two receivers as much money?
What if they trade him before the deadline?
That would be crazy.
Would you not show up to work the next day if they just say, you know what, let's trade him. Let's get out now while we can. That would be insane.
Yeah, let's get more picks for him so we can, you know, get
It's not a
better.
crazy, I mean, it's crazy for the idea that you go and get George Pickens, but for what he's given you so far this season, he's looked really good. So it's
Well,
not a crazy thought to
if
trade
they
him.
lose the next 4 games before the trade deadline, then I guess, right?
Yeah. Or
Which they
it's either
could.
that or
They're home
tag
to the
him.
Commanders at Denver. I mean, if they can't beat the Cardinals at home in prime time, wow, they got 2 primetime games in a row.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Against
home
who? The
to the
Cardinals?
Cardinals on
Oh.
November 3rd. That looks like it's a Monday night game.
Oh, you
Oh,
should
and then they have a
go.
bye, and then they come back and they're on Monday night again against the Raiders.
Is that before? But that's after the trade deadline, then, right? Because November
No, it's
4th.
before the Cardinals is November 3rd. So they have 3 games then before the trade deadline. So what if they
Oh.
lose all 3 and go 2-6-1?
I don't think it's a crazy. I mean, it is crazy when you think about just how good George Pickens has looked, but he might be worth even more, like you said, in the next couple of weeks when the trade deadline gets closer, and
You
then
know
teams
who's looking to trade for a
stop. Who?
receiver?
Who?
Pittsburgh.
What are we gonna do? That would be
Imagine that. That would be
insane.
hilarious.
That would be
No,
crazy.
that would never
No, it
happen.
would never happen. But that's just one of the things where the trade deadline's coming up on November 4th. So they might have to look at this. I think they tag him though, right? That's the best option. Tag
Probably,
him in
yeah.
the early 2026 window. And then you just have to see him finish strong. I don't know.
I mean, look, it's a
It's
great
nuts.
combo. I mean, we all saw that it was going to be a great fit. That's what was missing. That
Yeah.
deep threat, another good receiver opposite CeeDee Lamb, and Ferguson's playing well. So, but that's not the problem. It's that they cannot stop the other team.
It's fine. It's good for us. We
It's
like it
great for
for
fantasy.
fantasy. Yeah, real life fans, maybe not, but we're having a great time over here for fantasy. I will mention always an article that goes up every single week on Wednesdays. It's called the latest buzz questions, news, and fantasy tips from ESPN, and so it's Jeremy Fowler, Dan Graziano, and so I was looking through it this morning. But since we're on the topic of trade deadline, again, that is November 4th, so it is coming up here, less than a month away with that trade deadline. So I was looking through any names that they were potentially looking at, and I still see Breece Hall's name. I know that Breece Hall has said that he does not want to get traded, but the point that Graziano was making in this article is that Braylon Allen, we know, is out because of a knee injury. You still have Isaiah Davis, but Allen is only 21 years old. Like, that is still a really young running back. And again,
24.
or
You said 21.
is he not 21?
What are
Oh,
you
he's
talking about?
24. No, no, no. I'm talking about Allen, Braylon
Oh,
Allen.
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
thought you
yeah.
said
Breece
Brees
Hall
Hall.
is 24. No, no, no. I was like, well, then we have to talk to the editors because this is wrong. I did not look up. Oh, you want to do birthday? When's Braylon Allen's birthday?
Braylon Allen.
Yeah, come on. Don't say it like that. Be nice to Braylon Allen.
Let's say October
No,
12th.
no, it's not even.
Oh,
January
man.
20th coming up.
I
He'll
was
be
close.
22. What do you want? Breece Hall? You know Breece Hall's. Breece
Do
Hall.
I?
Hang on. No, you're never gonna guess this. Go
What?
ahead.
It's that hard?
Yeah,
Uh,
kind of.
May 23rd.
Oh my gosh. Okay, never mind. That was really close. It was May 31st. All right. Wow, that was really impressive, actually.
Wait, so how is May 31st determined to be a difficult
I
birthday
don't know.
date?
It just felt difficult, and you actually smashed it out of the park. So never mind. I don't know what's going on. The Mariners are playing today, and I'm just a mess
Yeah,
already.
you're
But
delusional.
stop.
You're
Get out of
stressed
here.
out. They're up 2-0 going home and you're stressed
Don't.
out.
Because have you seen them? Hello.
Yes, I
you
have.
can't get excited yet.
It's a
I'll get
different
excited
year.
when it's done.
You're the one that's supposed to be optimistic and
I
positive.
am optimistic, but I'm realistic too. Have
Okay.
you seen that team?
Yeah, I
Hello-
have.
Like
They've
to
looked
the-
great.
Yeah, they have
Jorge
looked great.
Polanco's
But
been
for
amazing.
my whole life, have they looked great?
No.
I just
Trust
have
me,
to.
I'm a
I
Mets
have to
fan. I know
wait.
disappointment.
You had a great season last year. That
Yeah,
was
what about
nice.
this year?
Yeah, well, no.
Okay,
What did I call
yeah.
your team? A crappy baseball team. Anyways, so Breece Hall, I still think might. I mean, this team is losing. They're 0-6. At some point, At some point, I could still see even if a player says that they don't want to get traded, it's a business at the end of the day. And if they think that that is the best way to just get picks for the future and make this team better, then I think they might do that.
Do you have Breece Hall on any fantasy teams this year?
No, I don't actually.
Okay, you don't have his stats in front of you, do you?
No.
How many touchdowns
why?
do you think he has scored this year?
Breece Hall?
Yeah.
I feel like it's a little bit higher than I would have expected. Is it 5?
0.
What?
I didn't realize this until
Whoa,
I
I
was
thought he's
writing
been in
about
there.
him in the Guillotine newsletter because he
I
was
was
on it,
way
and
off.
I was like, wait a second, he hasn't scored a touchdown this year? Nope. So
Where is he then in points per game?
So a lot of people have gone broke betting a Breece Hall
Wow.
anytime touchdown.
Oh my gosh.
In points per game at
I don't know why I
running
thought he
back,
was 26th. 11.8
wow,
is what I see.
I can't believe it's that. Well, yeah, no touchdowns will
I don't
do
know
that.
why I thought he at least found the end zone, but just hasn't been consistently doing well. That is bad.
So he has at least 16.1 points in 3 games. The problem is the other 3 games, 4.9, 9.2, and 5.9. Because the volume is there. You know, last week, I don't know how he didn't get a reception, but he's had 22 touches, 18, 19, and especially once Braylon Allen went out,
Mhm.
you know, that's what we figured, okay, now he's going to get massive volume. But this offense has been so dreadful that he hasn't scored. So, look, they should.
That's insane.
If they're not going to sign him, and they've shown no indication they will, they should trade him. What's the point?
Yeah, why would you keep him? I mean, I guess it's because I just don't have him, so I just assume that he has at least gotten, 3 to 5,
I
3 to
thought
5
he had
range
at
of it.
least 2.
Yeah, I was going high. I said I think I'm going to go a little bit higher with 5. His touches, though, I mean, he has 105 touches. That puts him at 12th among running backs. Tied for 12th, really, because that's tied with Kamara and Etienne.
I would say, well, we expect the touchdowns to eventually be there, but
we don't.
Can we say that with the Jets? Now, their schedule does ease up a bit. I mean, although the Panthers, go look at the Panthers' run defense the last 3 games. We used to think, remember, last year they were the worst team. They started off poorly, but the last 3 weeks they have shut every running back down. Javonte Williams could do nothing against them.
Yeah.
So it's not as easy a matchup. Then they get the Bengals. Then they have a bye. The Browns run defense, which has been great. Patriots, Ravens may be healthier by then.
Do they get a win before November 4th?
Oh, boy.
That's a Tuesday, so the last game would be November 2nd unless they have a Monday night game on the 3rd.
I'll say yes.
Okay.
They actually should have won this past week. Their defense
Yeah,
played
no kidding.
very well. It's just the offense was so dreadful. One of the worst offensive performances I've ever seen. That's why they couldn't win. So
Fields is actually just regressing in the passing
he's
department.
afraid to throw. He
I
doesn't
know.
anticipate.
But
He
Aaron
waits
Glenn-
to. It's really bad.
Aaron Glenn it didn't feel like, I think that sequence before halftime showed us that he doesn't have a ton of faith, not only in the defense, but the offense as well. I think that showed a little bit of a hole there where it's just like, you don't trust either side. But yeah, Fields, we never thought he was going to be a prolific passer, but
Fields is
not
tricky
this
now.
bad.
We've talked about it a lot, how like he's just great in fantasy and you don't worry about it. But we've now seen 2 games that cost you a week.
Yeah.
You know, so and then now you take away Garrett Wilson. You got to drop Fields a lot.
Well, the hard part. So I haven't posted my rankings. He's one of the hardest ones for
Yeah.
quarterbacks that I'm ranking this week because at the end of the day, and I know people, it's so tough because people will say, why would you ever even have him close to the inside the top? I'll even say 12. I think our early other rankers have him at QB 10 this week. It's
10? I think that's a little high.
Would you keep him inside the top 12 though? I mean,
I don't think I
it's a
would.
bad performance. He's given us though QB 2, 4, and 7 in the other 3 starts, but I know we can't look at it that way. You just have to look at what's been given right now, and that Broncos game was absolutely awful. And now you take out Garrett Wilson, like you said, expected to miss a couple weeks, but
That's why. Why I would have to lower him. It's not what we
uh,
just saw, even though that's in the back of your mind. But you take away Garrett Wilson, like who's his go-to guy? It's Mason Taylor is probably the number one, and then Josh
yeah.
Reynolds.
And then Breece Hall if they want to.
Yeah, I guess they're gonna have to throw to Breece Hall a lot. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
Fields is very tricky this week.
it's
I have
consensus QB 11
I
on
have him in
Fantasy Life.
Caleb Williams. In a couple leagues, I'm starting Caleb Williams. The one that's tricky for me is Fields or Trevor Lawrence.
Oof.
Right? I mean, I might just
I
have to
think
go
it's
Fields there.
Fields
Yeah.
against Carolina. I
I
mean,
guess you give him another chance, and if he looks terrible again, then it's probably over.
yeah, I mean Carolina's at least that one team where, like you said, on the ground, you might not expect much from Breece Hall, but at least you can hopefully expect a little bit more from Justin Fields. It's gonna be a tough week with rankings when I was going through them to get that start. All right, we're gonna keep going here. Stock watch got players on the rise, players that are potentially getting lower going into week 7. We've got those names here coming up next. As always, appreciate everyone hanging out with us on this Wednesday. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam Ronis with you right here. Fantasy Life on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. Going through Stock Watch. Players on the rise, players that are falling. Adam had me say Aaron Jones twice in the break.
Yeah,
He
got
caught
her.
me. But it doesn't count because no one heard it. So it's
We're
kind of
gonna
like
get the
if a
clip,
tree.
and it's gonna go
What clip?
viral.
We weren't even live.
So what? Doesn't
What
matter.
clip?
It doesn't have to be on air.
I thought it did.
No, it doesn't.
It stinks though, because you were always asking about Mac Jones, and I didn't even think about Aaron. So here we are. Oh, man, I was just caught
Mariners got you messed up.
totally not prepared. I was just like, Aaron Jones. You said, ha, gotcha. Which Aaron Jones, by the way, where I asked you in the break while we were talking about him, I said, is he okay? Where's he at? But you said that he could actually come back week 8.
Yeah, he's eligible to return week 8, and from some of the things I was reading, says he's on track. So
Mhm.
we'll see. I mean, obviously, if we have Jordan Mason, we like that he has mainly had the backfield to himself. He is losing some passing down work, but we did know coming into the year, they did say O'Connell said 1A, 1B, and Mason was still playing a solid role when Aaron Jones was on the field. So
Yeah.
maybe they use more Aaron Jones in passing situations.
You've wanted a little bit. I've wanted a little bit more out of him, but
Out of
it's
Jordan
okay. Jordan
Mason?
Mason. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, 12 fantasy points, 10, you'll always take those, especially in the range. He had 23.6. That was the week 3 Chicago game. And then, of course, their bye was week 6, but they play Philadelphia this week. So, yeah, you just wanted, I don't know, just a little bit more. He's had the carries, though. That's something that you can't, I mean, 16, 16, 13.
Well, the last game against Cleveland, I remember because we were getting a lot of calls, and even on the Sunday morning show about Jordan Mason, and we said, look, Cleveland has been shutting down everyone. You just hope he falls into the end zone. And he
Yeah,
did.
and he did.
He didn't have a big game, 52 rushing yards. I guess the Pittsburgh game was a little disappointing because back then they
Yeah,
were not
57.
great against the run. They are starting to get healthier on defense. So yeah, it could be a little bit better. I mean, he's averaging 4.7 yards per carry. It's just not heavily involved in the passing game. Does have 6 receptions over the last 2 games after 3 in the first 3. So, but I think once Jones comes back, we're probably not going to see a lot of receptions from Mason.
Yeah, probably not. Well, and he hasn't even been, like you said, he hasn't been getting that anyway. What, three receptions, and then 0 against Cincinnati, 15 yards and then 4. So, yeah, that's what we can, but that's kind of the role that we knew that they were going to have anyway.
And they've
this
had a
year.
lot of injuries on the offensive line. So we have to see if they can get healthy. And we also have to see who the quarterback's going to be
I was
this week.
going to
We
say,
don't even know.
you think we ever see JJ McCarthy again?
I don't know.
They're going to have to let that. I mean, that's the one thing with this team that's so interesting is that JJ McCarthy obviously is probably not stepping up the way that they thought he would right away. Then you go down, then you've got the injury, and they say, you know what, let's just shut you down until you can get better. But don't you think this is a team that can contend? And so they're probably looking at this with two different situations. They say, well, we have to see what we have in JJ McCarthy because we gave up and let Sam Darnold walk because of the belief that we have in him. But also, if they lose with JJ McCarthy, they have a team that really, I mean, they have star power on this team. They can contend.
The other problem is Wentz is dealing with a bad shoulder, so he's not
Yeah.
100%, and that's coming off a bye. I
That's
will
not
say
good.
this, though. If you have players on Minnesota, you want Wentz in there.
For sure.
Because look at what McCarthy did when he was the quarterback. Pass attempts, 20 and 21. That is a major problem for everybody on this offense. Go look at Justin Jefferson's numbers with McCarthy and without. It's stark. He was decent. He had one touchdown in one of the games with McCarthy, but it's going to hurt Addison, Hawkinson, who's not really done much anyway. But yeah, it's you can't have. I mean that's Justin Fields-esque 20 and 21 pass attempts. Like that's a problem.
Bad. It's really bad. And just even because he played through Atlanta, right? We've got 8 quarters of him.
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, and you said it with Justin Jefferson, it was 4 receptions and 3. So you're getting 14 fantasy points and 11, 44 yards in the first game, went up 81 yards against Atlanta in week 2. And then it's gone to 5, 10, and 7, 75 yards, 126,
back-to-back
123
100-yard
with
games
Carson
for him.
Wentz. Yeah.
Yeah. So unless McCarthy comes back and is better and they say, okay, we'll open it up. But I mean, they lost the game 22-6 and McCarthy had 21 pass attempts.
Yep. We'll see. We'll see. We should get that news sooner rather than later, right?
You would hope
For McCarthy, if we see it this week, I would assume we get that by tomorrow. Because if we see him,
I mean, so there was they said they're not going to keep the quarterback a secret. So
okay, well,
they're hoping that McCarthy can return to practice this week and Wentz is not 100%, which is we saw him banged up in
he
the
was
last game.
taking hits.
But the fact that it's, over a week and a half, and he's still not 100%, it's not a great sign. So, yeah, well, that is something you're keeping an eye on because you were feeling good about using Addison, at least.
Yeah, I've had him on, funny enough, except it's not funny, is that I've had him on my bench because I've had Egbuka going off. And now this is the week that I was like, okay, well, now I just have to trade him out. But his stock might be going down a little bit if we see JJ McCarthy. Should we get our friend Kevin O'Connell on the phone? Should we call him up?
We should.
Text him? Friend of the show?
Come on, give us some answers.
Please tell us what's going on. Let me give you stock watch, trending up, trending down. Let me go to Travis Etienne. We actually didn't talk about his week 6 yet. So he started off 4 straight games, double-digit production to start the season, and feels like he's cooled off over the last 2 weeks. So I'm curious for you if that's more the product of the environment, the games that they were playing in. He scored 8.8 points in week 5. That was against Kansas City, and then 9.5, which, again, not awful, but you expect more from Travis Etienne based on what he was giving you earlier in the season, and that was against, a tough Seahawks team. So trending up, trending down for Travis Etienne.
Yeah, I think it was the matchups. Kansas City, very tough to run on. Seattle, very tough to run on. So he at least in one of the games against Seattle, he had 4 catches for 28 yards. He wasn't as good against Kansas City, but I mean, it's his backfield. I don't see everyone was getting excited for Bashal Tutin, and it's not happening. I think even LaQuint Allen played more snaps than him this past week. So Etienne's still averaging 5.3 yards per carry. 13 receptions on the season. So I would say he's stagnant, right?
Right,
I don't
neutral.
think he's up or down. Yeah. So
who did they? I haven't even looked at their game this week.
They're in London to face the Rams.
That's right.
That's they make their annual trip every year to London.
Oh yeah, they are. Yeah, they always go over there. Are they staying for a couple weeks or is it just this one?
No, it's just this week. I believe next week there's no London game. This is right, 4 straight weeks.
Okay.
This is the 4th straight week.
It's felt like it's been 8 weeks.
But then there's 2 more though.
What?
Yeah.
When?
I think early November. Yeah, there is no overseas game next week. Thank goodness. So for you get to sleep in.
Not worry about. I have Jalen Warren.
Then in week 10, we
nightmares.
have Falcons Colts in Berlin. And then the
That
following
could
week,
actually be a good game.
then the
Falcons
following
Colts.
week we have Madrid, Dolphins, Commanders.
Oh, jeez.
And then
What
we
are
are
we doing
done.
giving them Dolphins? I feel
So
bad when we
6
give them.
games this year overseas.
And there's only gonna be more.
Oh, I know.
That's the whole plan is the switch over there. Well, all right, Jacksonville. I do agree with you that it's more neutral with Etienne. Let me go one more here. Stock watch up or down or neutral. Matthew Golden for the Packers. This feels like this is always going to be a difficult conversation when we have Matthew Golden, when we have a Packers team that always loves to spread the ball around. But he had a season high, and again, this is not a sexy number, 13.2 fantasy points coming off the week 5 bye. We've talked about some players, but more looking at rookies that do get the rookie bump after their buys. So 13.2, it's not amazing, but it is a season high. But I just feel like this team is still unwilling to feature any player and put him up there at the top. His participation rate fell. Wow, lowest mark since week 2, 68%. So what do you think here? Stock up or down?
This is a tough one because so he only played 69% of the snaps. You mentioned the
Mhm.
route participation, which was a dip. Wicks left early with an ankle injury. Christian Watson could be back soon. Then
Jeez.
eventually Jaden Reed. That might be weeks away though. And they said we're not forcing the ball to anyone. And you
Nope.
have Romeo Dobbs, you have Tucker Kraft. Jacobs is now a lot more involved
Man.
in the passing game too the last few games. So I think it's slightly up, but nothing crazy. I think people who drafted him in round 7 and round 8 are going to be disappointed at the end of the season.
Yes, I am. Well, he's a mid-range wide receiver 4. That's how you have to look at him, right? There's Unless
Yeah.
you want to call it a low-end wide receiver 3, but that's not at 13.6 fantasy points is the highest on the year. That's not necessarily a wide receiver 3 mark. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
you
disappointing.
definitely want to see him more involved, but they have said it. LaFleur has said it, and they have shown they are not gonna force the ball to any one player.
I will say this was interesting. His first read target rate is up 17% over the past 2 games. He had 13% in the first 3 games of the season. That's per saw that on next gen stats. But again, you said it. Christian Watson could throw kind of a wrench in the progression. That's all you want to see though, is just games where he continues to progress up and up and up. So I still think you hold him and everything like that because I don't know, you're not going to get much, but the first read situation was kind of interesting, up 17%, up to 17%. Sorry.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
sign. You hope
we'll
maybe
see.
they'll see him get open more often and get him the ball.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'm disappointed in what we've gotten so far, but maybe it changes here, Adam. We're going to continue on talking about changes. Are changes coming or are they just going to stay the same? We really need to dissect what we've seen in this Seahawks backfield. We're going to do a Seahawks backfield check in. And then what does the return of Rashee Rice mean for Xavier Worthy and the Chiefs in general? We're going to break that down here coming up next. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta have Xfinity. All games, all in one place. Here's what you get when you watch sports with Xfinity, and there is a long list. You get the Sports Zone, you get every pro football game and over 1,000 college games, highlights, alerts, all in one place. You get the multi-view. You can be up to 4 stadiums at once. You get the Xfinity Fan View. That means live scores, odds, and stats all in one place for your favorite teams and personalized to you. And then you get, of course, the enhanced 4K. You also get the voice remote. Just Say Football. Imagine all your football all in one place. Easy. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. This is Fantasy Life right here, helping you dominate your fantasy leagues going into week 7 already, Adam. Where does the time go? It's crazy. I can't even say we're in midseason form anymore because that just means we're doing what we're supposed to. Super Bowl form. How's that?
It really does
It goes
fly
by
by. I
so
mean,
quickly.
mid-October
I
already.
know. I can't even. It's just crazy to me. All right. So Ken Valenzuela here, Adam Ronis with you, getting you ready for week 7 at K Valenzuela 17 at Adam Ronis over there. I see some questions already. So we'll make sure to get to as many as we can going into this segment. And of course, the water cooler coming up here in a little bit. Wanted to ask, are changes coming? And this was more, geared towards looking at the Kansas City Chiefs, but I have seen so many questions, Adam, and Pete did a great write-up this morning at fantasylife.com for Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker for the Seahawks backfield. So I did want to check in there and literally do a Seahawks backfield check-in and what our expectations should be going forward, because in the write-up at fantasylife.com, you guys can go and subscribe to that newsletter 100% free in your inbox 7 days a week. So you would have read this morning, but Pete says you can't start either with what we've seen right now, that it is so difficult. And I know that some people are just going to be in leagues that are, you get the 20 rounds and it's really difficult to say, well, don't start Kenneth Walker, don't start Zach Charbonnet. But Kenneth Walker has 3 carries inside the 5 this year compared to 7 for Zach Charbonnet. That split moves to 1 and 7 when looking at just games when both backs were active. So really it was when Charbonnet was out that Kenneth Walker was getting that work. And so you continue on. Charbonnet has outsnapped Walker in 4 or 5 games, has outcarried him 3 times. More, a lot of people, Adam, say that Kenneth Walker just is the better running back, looks better this season. I've always been on the side where I say I don't disagree, but it just seems like the Seattle Seahawks want to be able to keep Kenneth Walker as healthy as they can for as long as they can. But Kenneth Walker right now, when you see this split, it's hard to say he's even an RB2 for both of these guys. They're 4-2. Sam Darnold looks so good. I think it is just crazy that we're talking about this Seahawks team and how good the offense has looked. But the one thing that seems to be holding them back is this run game. Do you think this changes at any time? Because I don't think it does.
It feels like it's not going to, and it really is insane what they're doing, because anyone watching Seattle can tell you Kenneth Walker clearly is the superior back to Charbonnet. Yep. It's not close. Walker's way more explosive. Yeah, so what Pete is saying is right. The only thing is, when you're talking fantasy, it's tough to make these general statements. Like, I've always disliked the start-sit columns that people do, because people will see a sit and be like, oh no, I got to sit this guy. And it's like, it all depends on your league and what else you have. So yes, he is right. If we're just looking at it, you don't want to start either guy. But we have a lot of injuries. We have bye weeks and deep formats where you probably don't have a choice. I actually started, was it last week or 2 weeks? I started Charbonnet recently. I didn't want to, but it's a league with 3 receivers and 2 flex spots, and I had bye weeks. I was like, I got to start Charbonnet. I think it was last week, week 5. Did he score a touchdown week 5, Charbonnet? It was a week he scored a touchdown.
I'll look.
No, so this is how crazy it is. So I don't have Kenneth Walker in redraft. I probably do in best ball. I think I have Charbonnet in 1 or 2 redraft. And it was the game where Walker had the 31-yard run. They take him out inside the 10, and Charbonnet scores on that play. And I was pissed off, even though it helped me, because I'm like, this makes no sense. What are you doing? But that's what Seattle's done, especially the last few weeks. I mean, they gave Walker 19 carries on the 25th. That was a Thursday night game. So wait, see, doesn't make any sense. You are saying that they want to keep him healthy. They give him 17 touches on the 21st against the Saints, and then on a Thursday game, they give him 20 touches. How does that make sense? And then you come back and
Charbonnet wasn't there against New Orleans, right? That was the game that he was. I have no stats.
So then why on the Thursday game, after you're trying to keep the guy healthy, he just had 17 touches, you give him 20 on a Thursday?
Yeah, it makes no sense. And that was 12.
Then the last 2
Arizona,
weeks, it's
right?
been 11 touches in each of the games.
Yep, 11 and 9 and 12 for Charbonnet.
Look, it's brutal, because a lot of people drafted Kenneth Walker in the 4th round, and I don't think any of us saw this coming. To this level.
The whole thing we talked about, which I was excited, was the whole premise of this was the Clint Kubiak offense. So Kenneth Walker's going to get more involved in the passing game. That was the one thing that we said, okay, if this really does work out, we know that it's probably, because they've been telling us, like, it's still going to be a little bit of a split. But the whole thing was that Kenneth Walker was going to get more targets. And What's even more concerning now is he's got a downward utilization trend over the past 2 weeks. It's the season low 34.5% snap share in week 6, and it just makes, I don't know, it just makes no sense to me because Charbonnet is not blowing him out of the water. That's the other
That's
part.
the thing.
We would be having a whole different conversation if Charbonnet looked even a little bit better than him, but he doesn't.
Right. That's the thing. If Charbonnet was putting up 70, 80 yards,
Yeah.
getting a lot of yards, gaining big plays, I would say, okay, they made the right decision. Charbonnet's averaging 2.6 yards per carry. He's done nothing. He looks worse. They put him in there. He's getting stopped. It makes no sense. I mean,
He's dead last in yards per carry among qualified rushers. 2.6. It's bad. He is the third worst explosive play rate, and then he has the league's highest rate of runs for 0 or negative yard. Let me say that again. He has the league's highest rate of runs for 0 or negative rushing yards at 31.7%. He has not been playing better than him. That's the one. You're right. That's the one thing that's confusing.
now they are winning games. They're 4-2. They're tied for the division lead. They're plus 49 in point differential, which is the best in the division. But I think this has to change. And maybe they are slow playing it, trying to keep Walker healthy. But at some point, everyone sees it. You have to go in the direction of Walker a little bit more. But it is a nightmare right now
Yeah.
for those that drafted Kenneth Walker.
Let me just say, they've got Houston. It's going to be a tough game this week for week 7. They've got a week 8 bye. So maybe you sit back and say something changes once they look over everything. A week 8 bye, sometimes that's the reset. They don't necessarily need a reset because, like you said, they're winning and they're looking good while doing it. But maybe that's the reset that they need for the running back room with Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. All right, let's see what Rashee Rice's return means for Kansas City, and more specifically, how we just rank going forward Xavier Worthy and some of these other pass catchers. We're going to do that coming up next. You are listening to Fantasy Life right here. Make sure you send us in your questions at Valenzuela17, at Adam Ronis over there on X. The phone number to call in, 888-963-2682, or press that new call-in button on the Sirius XM app. We're getting you ready for the water cooler here in a little bit, so we'll start taking your phone calls as well. I don't know if you know, Adam, but Rashee Rice is back, and so all of your teams are going to be saved. There's one team I have him on. That's just for fun, no money or anything, but it's 1-6. And I said, thank goodness Rashee Rice is coming back to save my season. So he's coming back here. The Kansas City Chiefs are on their way to basically having their full complement of offensive weapons. They have not been on the field, mind you. I mean, between him, Xavier Worthy, and Hollywood Brown, those 4 haven't been on a field in a regular season game. I think maybe one. It's the first time with Xavier Worthy, Marquise Brown, and then Rashee Rice. So they have not, that trio has not even been together unless we count the preseason, which I don't. But that's when Brown suffered the shoulder injury. Then Rice went down, season-ending knee injury. That was week 4. So you not only get this trio back, but honestly, Adam, the way that the Chiefs are playing right now, they're also just on the up and up. I mean, we talked in the offseason about what Patrick Mahomes needs to do to be able to get back into the top 10, really, fantasy quarterbacks. That's what we were looking at because he hadn't been there in 1 or 2 seasons at least. And so now you're looking at Kansas City. They just dominated in that game going up against the Lions. Next Gen Stats told us that the Chiefs generated 11 explosive plays. And that was the part in the offseason we talked about a lot, is them getting back to their explosive ways and just kind of opening things up. So now you add Rashee Rice. When you look at him, where is he initially? Where should he be? I can tell us where he is in our rankings right now. And how much do you downgrade someone like Xavier Worthy?
Rice should be this week borderline wide receiver 1. Maybe you're worried about him since he hasn't played in a game in so long. He is actually coming off an injury, but if he wasn't suspended, he would have been good to go week 1. But obviously, if you have Rice, you're putting him in your lineup.
Oh, yeah.
And as far as Worthy, I'm not going to downgrade him too much. I'd probably put him wide receiver 2 this week. I think this Chiefs offense is just getting ready to take off. Patrick Mahomes is playing phenomenal right now. He's the QB1, and pretty easily. He is running at an insane rate. He has 222 rushing yards through 6 games.
That's insane.
38 rushing attempts. He usually saves that for the postseason, for the big games. So that's the only thing that's missing from this Kansas City offense is they have not been able to run the football. Pacheco has been more efficient the last few games, but the problem is they will not give him any goal line carries. I think he was in there for one goal line play, and then they immediately took him back out and went to Kareem Hunt. I was like,
Perfect.
it's not going to happen. But he did have a season high 12 carries this past week for 51 yards. And his last 4 games, 4.5, 5, 5.1, 4.3 yards per carry. But it doesn't matter when you're only getting like 7, 8, 9 carries a game and not involved in the passing game. But yeah, this Chiefs offense is going to explode going forward. And if you have Mahomes, you are loving life because there's a good chance he stays as the QB1 and finishes there. I mean, look, there's a chance Lamar Jackson, though, comes back and explodes. That defense is so bad, Lamar's going to have to put up monster games.
The rich get richer, and that's what the Chiefs are getting right now with Rashee Rice back. Kansas City has scored on 52% of its possessions this season, and that's the top mark since 2018 for them. So we're going to keep saying good things about them. Rashee Rice again back this week. It's time for the water cooler. News and notes that you need to know for Week 7. Your phone calls, your questions. We're going to do that coming up next. It is about that time for the Fantasy Life Water Cooler right here on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. This is the time where we go through all the pieces of news that you might have missed, getting you ready for Week 7. Because the one thing that you're going to be when you listen to this show is informed for sure. So we're going to make sure to go through all the news that we've seen so far. Not too many updates yet, Adam, on just statuses going into Week 7. So that's a little bit disappointing, but we should expect a lot more going into this afternoon today and going into tomorrow as well. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam, Ronis with you right here. Want to make sure the phone lines are open for you guys. So we are here to help you with any questions. 888-963-2682 is the phone number to call in, or you can press that new call in button. If you're on the Sirius XM app right now, just look for that one. And then of course we'll be looking at our X messages, Twitter messages as well, at KValenzuela17, at Adam Ronis over there. We'll try to get to as many as we can during this show and during this segment here. And then of course, fantasylife.com. Always have to steer you in that direction. We've got updated rankings, updated projections for Week 7. Rest of season is there. All the good stuff that you need to make those decisions for start sits going into this week. And if you've been thinking about getting Fantasy Life Plus, we've got a deal running for you right now where you can actually get it for free, 100% free. So you just have to go to fantasylife.com/comet, COMET. That is an AI powered browser, acts as a personal assistant, thinking partner. If you want to see some stats on some of your guys, you can go ahead and ask it. It'll tell you when to change some lineups, tell you when some guys are injured, look at coach speak, much more, whatever you want to do with it. Make sure you go to fantasylife.com/comet, follow the 2-minute step-by-step guide, and you'll have full access to all of our rankings, our tools, our projections for 1 year for free. So you have to go and download and install the browser to activate your promo code. fantasylife.com/comet, COMET is where you go. All right, Adam, you ready to go? I'm ready. There's not that many. Unfortunately, I was hoping for a few more updates this morning or just even yesterday afternoon going into this show today. I'll just say this, I haven't seen much except the ones that we were kind of expecting. Like we're not going to have Emeka Egbuka. He's not expected to play in Week 7. That's per Rappaport. That just came out a few minutes ago. All the other ones we're just waiting on. David Njoku, you said, is day-to-day. That was per Fowler. So again, the day-to-days, we don't know what to expect with those. I think Puka Nacua is also day-to-day, but the expectation, because that is an international game and they have their bye in Week 8, is that we're going to be without Puka Nacua this week. And Garrett Wilson as well. We just have to wait for full confirmation on that. But not too many updates there on the injury front yet.
Yeah, they'll start to trickle out today as they're back at the facility and reporters get access. So the thing is, we know a lot of these guys are going to miss, like Egbuka, which is, again, extremely sad for me. That means like almost every league I need to replace him. And it's the worst because he was off to such a great start. You know, that's the worst thing when you're like, wow, I really got this right. He's been crushing it. And then now an injury just ruins it. So, you know, I mean, Egbuka's, he's 8th in points per game in PPR formats.
He was a set it and forget it player as a rookie from the almost from the very beginning. It hurts.
Yeah, it does. And then, as you mentioned with Puka, I would expect him to be out too. It makes no sense to even push that. This is a team that's 4-2. You go to play Jacksonville in London. You hope you can escape with a win. You give Puka the extra week off with the bye week, and then you hope that he can come back. Because again, this is a guy that has always been banged up. That was
Mhm.
the one issue with him is, there were games you would see him limp off. He would come back on. He's tough, but he's very physical, and you need him back healthy. And our fantasy teams do too, for those that have him, because he was just money in the bank. Like every week you put him out there, you expect 15 to 20 points.
Yeah. So it's rest up and get back soon, please, because we just can't keep doing. I can't keep talking about Isaiah Bond, Flournoy. I can't keep doing this, Adam.
Yeah,
We
I've
got to
I've
go
actually
somewhere else.
I've
Sterling
started
Shepard.
Bond 2 weeks in a row. It has not gone well, but
Yeah,
when
that's
you're in
brutal.
these deep formats and you have set all your injured receivers, you got to go somewhere. And yeah, Isaiah Bond
He'll be
basically
fine.
not. I mean, think about it. They dropped Gabriel at 52 pass attempts last week, right?
And you still get nothing.
and Bond had 2 catches for 9 yards on
Jeez,
5
it's brutal.
targets.
Maybe this is this is more Jerry Jeudy. Like maybe this is the week for Jerry Jeudy managers. I know they're fed
Jeudy
up.
has been
They can't. That's been
atrocious.
so just what's worse than just a guy cuz that's been Jerry Jeudy. It's yeah, maybe this is the week 7 breakout that you need though. Because Jerry Jeudy did almost nothing with 13 targets last week. He had 43 receiving yards. And it is just he has a league high 105 unrealized air yards. That's from Ian Hartitz, but maybe we can be more optimistic this week because they do take on the Dolphins.
And they are favored as
Oh,
well.
are they?
Yes, I mean they're
Wow.
home, so 2 1-5 teams, but this is going to be a game where you see a lot of Quinshon Judkins. I mean, they would be absolute morons to have Gabriel drop back as much as he did this past week. I don't know why they abandoned the run game so early. I mean, I understand that teams are going to force that, right?
Yeah.
Pittsburgh's smart. They were coming off a bye. They basically said, "Hey, you're going to beat us. Go ahead, Gabriel. Let's see what you can do." And he couldn't. I don't think Miami has that ability right now with the way they have defended the run. So this is going to be a huge Quinshon Judkins game. They're going to just feed him early and keep feeding him.
If there was any week to maybe look to start Jeudy, it would also probably be this one. You won't feel great about it. You won't feel comfortable. When do you think we see? I was going to ask you this yesterday, which just never came up. But since we're talking about the Browns, when do you think we see Shedeur Sanders get the chance to start for the Browns this year? The answer might be never. But Dillon Gabriel's second start was just it was not good. You said it 50. He finished 29 to 52, 221 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. He averaged 4.3 yards per attempt, averaged just 4.8 yards per attempt on the season. We can keep going. I mean, all the stats are bad. Throws of 10 plus air yards. He was 4 of 14. 4 of 14 is horrible for 51 yards there. I think he has a longer leash in Cleveland, but do you think we see Shedeur Sanders at some point this season if this continues?
I'm not sure. I mean, Stefanski's comments basically were he's going to be patient with Gabriel. It's only a couple starts and they want to give him a chance. So everyone is waiting to see Sanders get that opportunity. I don't think it's soon.
I don't either. They made us wait for a while to name him QB2 when they traded Joe
Yeah.
Flacco. I mean, I don't know I don't know what goes on over there. Not to say, and we just don't know. Not to say that Shador Sanders would save everything, but at some point we have to downgrade. Except I will say, Dylan Gabriel likes to throw to his tight ends. So if you have
Yes.
David Njoku, probably because they're, I mean, Dylan Gabriel's not a big guy, so maybe it's because they're just these tall, tall big guys out there for those tight ends for Cleveland. But he likes to target David Njoku, and I think if David Njoku is out this week, again, he's day to day, so we won't really know yet. But picking up Harold Fannin Jr., I think is a really good move this week. And again, I haven't seen yet, and we'll get a lot more answers as the week goes on, but Harold Fannin could be someone that, we saw the season high in utilization score. He had 15.1 fantasy points. He's been someone that I've been hanging on to because we talked about him a lot early in the season, and you've just had to be careful or be more patient, not careful, but route participation was 78%. That was all after David Njoku left. So I think Fannin would be a borderline tight end one for me in my rankings if and when we get the news that David Njoku's out this week.
Yeah, Njoku's a tough guy, man. So I would not rule him out just yet. So if he is out, though, yeah, then Fannin is a top 10 tight end this week. We saw last week what he did. Good matchup here against Miami. So yes, he would definitely be someone that you lock in. If Njoku goes, you might be able to play both, right? I mean,
I don't see the harm in it, right? Because Gabriel really likes to target the tight ends.
Yeah, it's just the game total's 39.5. And again, I've got to think Judkins gets like 20, 25 touches this week. You have to against this Miami run defense. Them and Dallas are like the two worst. You've got to run on this team, and you don't want Gabriel to drop back as many times as he did last week.
They might hold David Njoku back. The trade rumors for him are still going on too. He's in the contract year. So I don't think and I think for him as well, he doesn't want to get hurt. So that's the only thing I'm looking at. We'll see. It's a toss up if he plays this week or not. Again, day to day for him, but something to definitely pay attention to. And Harold Fannin, a good waiver wire ad this week as well. Can I just mention how good Bijan Robinson is? Can we just talk about how good he is? Because I saw this stat. Bijan Robinson is on pace to break the NFL record for yards from scrimmage in a season. But it just is an overall conversation of how good he is with 170 rushing yards, 68 receiving yards Monday. He now has 484 rushing yards, 338 receiving yards this season. The total of 822 from ESPN here from scrimmage leads the NFL. And he is just on pace to have a monster season. That is someone that if you were able to get him in the first round, if you said, you know what, I want Bijan Robinson more than Saquon, sometimes, you saw Bijan Robinson go 101 for some people ahead of Jamar Chase, obviously ahead of Jahmyr Gibbs. And so it's just all to say, if you have him, you're very, very, very happy with what he has given you. I lost a matchup last week that I was in the 95% of, you're going to win this. And then, of course, my opponent had Bijan Robinson, puts up that insane game. And I look back and I checked back this morning and I said, wait a second, I lost this? Yeah, I did. So congrats, Bijan Robinson managers.
Yeah, he was my RB1 going into the year, and I have him in a couple leagues. I wish I had him in more, but it's insane what he is doing right now because he's basically like having a wide receiver. It's like Christian McCaffrey because he's so involved in the passing game. They split him out wide. Even with Tyler Algier getting a decent amount of touches, it really hasn't mattered. And we just need to see more touchdowns from him, and then he still is number one right now in points per game for running backs in PPR, slightly above McCaffrey and Taylor. Taylor obviously gets more touchdowns. McCaffrey more receptions. Bijan, there's a little balance between both of them, but he only has 3 touchdowns. Like, imagine we get like a 15 to 18 touchdown season out of Robinson, what his numbers would look like. Because, he's had at least, he's easily over 100 yards from scrimmage every single game.
For sure. Yeah, 100%. Because the current pace that he's on, if he keeps that current pace up, it's 164 scrimmage yards per game. He would finish the season with 2,795 yards from scrimmage this season. The current record is 2,500, a little over 2,500, and that was set by Chris Johnson in 2009. So he's on a great pace.
Robinson is 25th in receiving yards right now. He has more receiving yards than Brian Thomas, Rome Odunze, Ricky Pearsall, Devontae Smith, Keenan Allen, Deebo Samuel, Lad McConkey, Nico Collins. And you could say, well, some of those guys had their bye. So did Bijan.
That's the one part. They've already, you don't even have to worry about that. That's sometimes the nice part with these early buys, especially that's why I say, Michael Penix, it's not every week, but if you need to stash someone for that week 8 by Mageddon, you don't have to worry about it. So
is he home that week though?
I don't know. I hope so because I
Why?
picked him up.
So you've already stashed Penix for the week 8 bye?
Yeah,
I'm
I've got
assuming?
2 quarterbacks.
Oh, they are home against the Dolphins.
There we
Okay, I
go.
see why you did it. Now. Oh my
Fire
God,
him
Bijan
up.
against the Dolphins
There
next
we
week.
go.
Oh, I
Yes.
can't wait to see what that rushing and receiving yards number is. It was
It's
109
gonna
and
be
a half on
insane.
Monday, easy cash.
It's
Yeah.
going to be insane. That's what it's going to be.
Oh boy.
Thank
That's
goodness.
gonna
No,
be
I've
fun.
got so many. I mean, because so week 8 is the Cardinals. I unfortunately have Kyler Murray in one. I have
I'm
Jared Goff
so
in one.
glad I am rid of
The
that headache
Lions,
this year. I had no
Jacksonville.
Kyler Murray this year.
Rams, Matthew Stafford, Sam Darnold, if people picked him up. I don't think anyone's starting Trevor Lawrence, Geno Smith.
It's not that bad for the quarterbacks, though. I mean,
It is for me.
Geno.
Adam.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that bad for quarterbacks, skill position players.
I think it's bad for if you have a Jared Goff or a Kyler Murray. The one thing that I just messed up is that the one league that I have Kyler Murray, which is why I went and picked up Michael Penix, is that my backup is Matthew Stafford in that one.
Yeah,
so
and I have
backups.
I have no problem doing that. Like on draft day, like some people will say, "Well, why did you draft 2 quarterbacks with the same bye?" I mean, what if both pop? And then you can, and I think then you make the decision as the bye week approaches, like you did. You went out, you get Penix with a great matchup against Miami. So I have no problem doing that because even at the tight end position, because what happens if you really like that second tight end and you go, well, my starting tight end has the same bye week, I'm going to pass on him. And what if that guy was like Jake Ferguson?
Yeah, exactly.
That's why I don't mind it. You will always figure it out as you get closer to the bye week and injuries happen, things change. So I don't think that's a big deal. But there's no elite quarterback though next week.
No, I wouldn't say elite quarterback. It's just some of the weapons you're going to be. Ashton Genty not out there. Both of the Detroit running backs, JSN. I would say anyone on the Cardinals, but they haven't been doing anything. So I mean, you will be without Trey McBride, and obviously Marvin Harrison. I don't know if we see him this week with that concussion. I mean, even the Rams, you're down. You're picking up Jordan Whittington or someone like that. You have Devontae with Puka Nacua more than likely out. That's gonna hurt. And the Seahawks. Really, it's only JSN because what are Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet doing for us? Nothing.
Oh, that is definitely one of the worst backfield situations this year.
It wasn't on my bingo card either. I just thought with Clint Kubiak coming in, that would honestly be one of the better parts of this offense, but hasn't been. All right, let's go out to the phone lines now. I see phone calls coming in, 888-963-2682. Let's start off with Eugene in Atlanta. What do you got for us? Potentially. There we go.
Can you hear me?
Hey, yeah, what do you got for us?
Hello. Well, I started with the question, but I kind of changed it up a little bit. I'm in a 10-team half-point PPR. I'm in first place, and I like it there. So I've got a good team, but my question is I've got to choose, and I changed my question. I need to choose 2 players between these 4. Deebo Samuel, T. Higgins, Jordan Mason, or McBride. I need to start 2 of them. I got plenty of room in my flex and all of that.
Okay.
So my original question was Jordan Mason or T. Higgins.
Okay, but now it's pick 2 of the 4. So Deebo, T. Higgins, Jordan Mason, Trey McBride. I feel like Trey McBride has to be. I like Deebo Samuel the most and Jordan Mason here, but I can be convinced otherwise, Adam. But those are the 2 that I like the most upon first look.
I wonder if that heel is bothering Deebo. He had a bad game. He did nothing this past week.
I've got him ahead in my rankings this week, though.
Of who?
They're playing Dallas.
Oh, yeah. I forgot.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't. Really,
okay, yeah. We got to get Deebo in. Sorry about that. And we might not get McLaurin.
I don't
he could have 2 injured heroes against Dallas and still be fine.
He could be Jawan Jennings now. And just,
Deebo
I think it's
in.
Deebo. The one thing that I'm going back and forth on is Trey McBride. Because we don't know if we get Kyler Murray back out there or Jacoby Brissett. They play Green Bay, though, so I definitely put him down my rankings. And I do right now in my rankings like Jordan Mason a little bit more. I've got him in the flex at 36.
Yeah, I do think T. Higgins is definitely out of this.
Yeah,
for sure.
Which is crazy that we're saying that in week 7. But
yeah, I mean, it was a little bit better for him last week, but it's still in this group. Green Bay's allowed the fourth most fantasy points to tight ends. They've allowed 3 touchdowns to tight ends, and they actually have not faced some of the top ones either. That one's close. I guess I would lean Mason too for the volume, but it's close. I don't know. I might.
If it's Kyler Murray, do you switch it and say you want or
Does
does
it matter?
Jacoby,
I mean,
I don't
Jacoby
know.
Brissett finally gave McBride a touchdown. If
Yeah, I
Brissett
know.
starts, does it really matter?
That's why I'm saying,
And they
do
are
you
going to be playing
downgrade
from behind.
McBride? Do you downgrade McBride if Kyler Murray's out there?
That's crazy to say,
It's
right? I mean,
insane.
McBride
I
still
kind of-
puts up numbers with
He
Kyler
does.
Murray,
He
though.
does. I still lean with Mason, but it's very close between Mason and McBride. But definitely Debo playing against the Cowboys.
Yeah, look, the Eagles' run defense has not been as good as we thought it would be. I know last week, what's the name escapes me? Their
Who?
stud defensive tackle who was out against the Giants.
Why are we doing
The
this? Don't do
Eagles.
this to me.
But
What are you
yeah,
doing?
I'm assuming he'll be back. But
What is his name?
yeah, I don't know why it escaped
Oh
me.
my gosh. You did it to me too. Carter.
Carter, yes.
Thank
Javon
you. There we
Carter,
go.
yeah.
Okay. I was like,
So,
it's Carter. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I actually might go McBride. No, I'll go Mason right now.
Call
It's
us back,
tough.
Eugene. I know it's a good question.
Well, this is
I
look.
do like Mason.
It
though.
is Wednesday. You shouldn't. I know everyone's anxious. You can set a preliminary lineup, but the only game that you should worry about right now is the Thursday game. He does have T. Higgins, and we're saying don't
Yeah, I wouldn't
start
go
him
T.
in this
Yeah.
situation. So
I think for
you
now.
have time to go over this and
For
figure
now,
it out.
early, go Mason Debo. And check back with our rankings, fantasylife.com. Let's go out to Tom in Denver. Tom, what do you got for us here?
Okay, guys, full point PPR tight end woes. I've got Pitts and Hawkinson on my roster, or I can pick up Fannin, Otten, or Taylor. And then if I can beg for a bonus question, Wendell Robinson or Kendrick Bourne.
But you didn't even beg.
Get out of here. Or Kendrick Bourne. Of course you can. You don't have to. Don't listen to Adam. Okay, I think I got these names right. So full point PPR, Tom has Pitts and Hawkinson. He's got Fannin, Cade Otten, or Taylor, Mason Taylor, that is, for tight ends on the waiver wire that they could pick up. Would it not be Cade Otten to pick up out of that group? I think it goes Cade Otten for me and then Fannin.
Wouldn't it be Fannin if Njoku's out?
Are you picking him up though? And because I think if you don't get on, then he's going to be gone. If you think that,
I think
David
I would go
Njoku's
Fannin.
going.
Yeah, I would go Fannin. Because the other thing with Otten, as you alluded to in the first hour, that if Mike Evans comes back, I think Otten will still be involved. But with Evans there, that's going to take away a little bit from him. Because we
Okay.
saw Otten have those games when Evans was out last year.
I've got Fannin at 9 this week. That is
And
with
where's-
the idea that
And where's
that
Otten?
Otten I have at 11.
So yeah, you're on Fannin too.
Let me flip it. I'm just worried that David Njoku is good to go this week. Then I do think I would
Fannin
move,
still plays a lot though.
I know,
with-
but I'd move him probably behind Cade Otten though.
probably.
Yeah.
I would take the shot with Fannin, and then maybe one of the other two are there. Even Taylor's not in a bad spot this week too.
No,
I
he's
think
not.
they're all good options.
I will
but
say
I
I
would
like
go
Harold
Fannin.
Fannin rest of season over Cade Otten. If you were looking at it
yeah,
like
that's
that.
for
So I
sure.
mean, because you don't have Pitts and Hawkinson aren't necessarily amazing right now. So I definitely like him rest of season as well. That's a good question. The extra question here: Wandale Robinson or I think it was Kendrick Bourne.
Yeah, I'd go
Was it
Kendrick Bourne.
Yes. Was it Kendrick Bourne? Yes. Okay. I would also go Kendrick Bourne there. I have him higher in my rankings.
Because my guess is Pearsall doesn't play this week. That's not official, but it didn't sound like it. Kittle could be back, should be back.
Mhm.
And Jennings, again, has like 17 injuries that he might still play through
2
and
high
not be
ankle
good.
sprains, everything. All right, we're going to continue on. We're going to be talking with Matthew Berry here. Appreciate everyone calling in. Go to fantasylife.com. Matthew Berry coming on next. Fantasy Life right here on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. And we get to talk with the one and only Matthew Berry right here, getting you all ready for week 7 and answering some of the big questions that you have. Matthew, welcome in. I would ask how you're doing and how your week 6 was, but then I saw your post on Instagram of how you lost almost every single matchup that you had by less than a point, and then your Commanders lost. So I will not do that. But how's it going at least? How are you doing going into week 7?
I appreciate you bringing that up. I appreciate, I tried to purge that from my memory. Kendall posted it on social media just to sort of, get it out there. But thank you for bringing that painful memory up again.
No
yes,
problem.
It was, I lost a bunch of matchups by literally less than 1 point, by decimal points, in some cases by like 0.2 of a point. And then my Commanders just absolutely blew it on Monday night. So that was, it's been a tough go. So we're all, listen, just like the Patriots were on to Cincinnati, that's what I'm on to week 7. I'm on to week 7.
There we go. Well, we appreciate you talking with us right now. I mean, I think the big question is, what have we done to deserve these injuries? But, after that, Matthew, I do want to look to Tampa Bay because we've gotten a lot of questions on just the receiver to pick up this week. We know that Mike Evans is probably more than likely going to be back. We haven't gotten that confirmed yet, though. We know, though, Egbuka is not going to be there. Godwin is going to be out. So between, a Sterling Shepard, a Cade Otton, a Tez Johnson, the MVP Tez Johnson, where would you go for people needing to pick someone up?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty bad, right? Because we don't know if Mike Evans will be back. We also, Garrett Wilson's not going to be there as well. So, you most likely need a wide receiver, and that's, that's, again, you can't start like Juwan Jennings. We don't know if we're getting Pearsall back, et cetera, et cetera. So, I think, in terms of Tampa Bay, Kendall, we talked about this, but Sterling Shepard to me is the safer play. Depends on sort of what you need, and also depends on, honestly, Evans' availability. But I feel best about Shepard, because, he'll play in the slot, so whether Evans is back or not, that shouldn't affect Shepard's playing time. He's been there the longest. He has more of a connection with Baker Mayfield as well. Very high route participation last week and has traditionally. So Tez Johnson, he had the one big play, which was nice. He played a lot of snaps, but really only caught 3 balls. I would rank them Shepard, Tez Johnson, Cameron Johnson. And again, obviously, if Mike Evans is back, then sort of all bets are off right there. But if I had to pick a Bucs wide receiver this week that isn't, rostered in a ton of leagues, Sterling Shepard would be my choice.
We know fantasy players react to what they just saw. And what we saw last week from Justin Fields was abysmal. But we do know he's a good fantasy quarterback. Garrett Wilson could be out. What do you do with Fields? Do you just say, hey, it was a bad game, tough matchup, and you just go back to him? Because there are people that are going to shy away from him now.
Rightfully so. I mean, he looks terrible. There's just no getting around it. But I will tell you, he's my quarterback 10 this week. And there's a very good chance that makes me look super stupid. I get it. He's got a short leash. I think, if he struggles the way he did overseas this weekend, he's on a short leash and they'll go to Tyrod Taylor. But my argument, and I get it, potentially no Garrett Wilson. But I guess my argument here is Carolina. It's Carolina. No team in the NFL brings pressure less often than the Carolina Panthers. They just can't get to the quarterback. And I think that was the big issue that Fields had last week. He was just constantly under pressure. Now, in fairness, he also held the ball too long. And I'm sure the coaching staff to work with him this week about, dude, you've got to get rid of the ball or start running quicker or something. You can't just keep holding the ball back there as long as you have. But I just think because he should have a relatively clean pocket against Carolina and because of the rushing floor, I have it QB 10. Again, it's a risky QB 10. I wouldn't want to play him in a guillotine league, for example. But I think in standard leagues, I'm reluctantly going back to Justin Fields this week because of the matchup.
Talking again with Matthew Berry here, getting his all his advice for week 7 coming up. Matthew, we can talk about something positive here, and that is that Rashee Rice is back for the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't think anyone needs us to tell them to start Rashee Rice, but, what does this addition do for not only Mahomes, who's been having a good, fantasy season for us, but some of these other weapons as well, like Xavier Worthy? How do you see this team now that he's back?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how because we really haven't seen these guys all play together. Again, Worthy last year was just sort of getting up to speed. And, of course, then Kelsey, they didn't have Hollywood Brown healthy. Despite last week, we've seen some nice contributions from Tyquan Thornton. Of course, Juju is always around, not to mention Travis Kelsey. So I think my answer is that what I would do if I'm starting Rashee Rice, I'm starting Xavier Worthy. And the rest, I sort of want to wait and see. I get that Hollywood Brown had the 2 touchdowns last week, but I'm nervous about that. I think you're obviously still starting Kelsey. But that's it. I think the rest is kind of a wait-and-see approach in terms of how the Chiefs kind of, run their offense with all their weapons back on the field together at the same time. I will say this. I think, Patrick Mahomes is something like plus 1,400 to lead the NFL in passing touchdowns. That's a pretty interesting bet. I think he's going to have a monster second half of the season. We already saw it, last week against Detroit. I just think getting all of his weapons back, the defense isn't as good as it used to be. They're in a little bit more of a dogfight in the division than they have been previously. I think Mahomes is just going to go bananas here for the rest of the way.
Why do you think things are on the rise for Ladd McConkey? We know Quinton Johnston was out. That helped a little bit, but we saw McConkey lead the team with 9 targets and have 100 yards. So what is your outlook for him the rest of the year?
Yeah, I think he's a talented player, right? And the loss of Amari and Hampton, the Chargers were already one of the league leaders in pass rate over expectation. I think they're number 1 actually in the NFL, and certainly with the loss of Amari and Hampton, it was nice game from Kamani Vidal. But they're going to continue to pass heavy, and so yes, no QJ there certainly helped out Ladd McConkey, as to the fact they were playing the Dolphins, right? But if you look at the numbers, Keenan Allen has sort of died out a little bit, and we've seen sort of a regression to the mean. Ladd McConkey's a good player. Justin Herbert's a good quarterback, and they have a good coaching staff. This is never going to be sustainable that Ladd McConkey wasn't just going to do anything. So am I as high on him now as I was in the preseason? No. Certainly because we've seen the emergence of Quinton Johnston and Keenan Allen has looked spry as ever. Not to mention the production out they're getting from Aaran Gadsden, the rookie tight end out of Syracuse. Even with Will Dissly back last week, Gadsden 7 targets, ran a ton of routes. His route participation continues to go up every single week. So my expectation for McConkey is probably more wide receiver 3 than wide receiver 2. He's sort of drafted as a mid-tier wide receiver 2. I think he's got weekly wide receiver 1-2 upside, but that would be my expectation the rest of the way is I think kind of a mid-tier wide receiver 3.
All right, Matthew, last one, and then we'll get you out of here. Just have to go back to the questions on Rico Dowdle. When Chuba Hubbard returns, do you think Rico Dowdle, I know Canales has maybe left the door open for him on earning the RB1 role, but what do you think when Chuba Hubbard does return? What do you think this backfield looks like between the two?
I think it's probably more of a committee. They paid Chuba Hubbard a lot of money, and he's played well. It's not like Hubbard's done anything wrong. It's just Dowdle has just been nuclear the last 2 weeks. And so, again, I don't know how you put the genie back in the bottle, the toothpaste back in the tube, pick your metaphor. But, Rico Dowdle has arrived in a way that he can't go back to the bench and just being a part-time player. But I just don't see Hubbard being Wally pipped, as it were, as well. So my guess is this becomes a bit of a committee. You think about Dave Canales in Tampa Bay, and for a lot of the year, it was Rachaad White and Bucky Irving. Now, down the stretch, Bucky Irving sort of took that over, but it wasn't until both guys played for a long time and you were able to see sort of well, Bucky Irving's just better. I think at least in the short term, once Hubbard comes back, they will split carries, they will split touches. Both will be viable to start in a flex sort of way. And then if Dowdle continues his domination, then maybe he, just gets the majority of the touches down the stretch. But I can't imagine Hubbard's not going to get an opportunity to win at least a share of the job back.
Awesome. Well, Matthew, we appreciate you taking the time, hanging out with us today, getting us ready for Week 7, and we get to talk with you next week.
You know what, Kendall? It's one of the things I enjoy about this segment
Tell me.
That I get to tell everyone, because I'm a company man, that we're giving Fantasy Life Plus away for free.
Mm-hmm.
It's $100 value. We're giving away. It's 12 months. There's no catch to this. It's a 12-month subscription. It's $100 value. You get it 100% free. All you got to do is go to fantasylife.com/Comet, COMET. Our friends at Comet want you to download their brand new browser, which is awesome. All you have to do is you download the browser and you get Fantasy Life Plus for free, our tier 2 product. It's the best product we have, again, and you get it for 12 months, which means next August when you're drafting, next September, You'll have all of our rankings, our draft software, everything you need to crush your league. FantasyLife.com/Comet, COMET.
Awesome. Appreciate it, Matthew. And we'll talk to you next Wednesday.
See you, Kendall.
All right, there he goes. Again, that's fantasylife.com/comet. COMET is where you go. We've mentioned it before, but it's just you follow the 2-minute step-by-step guide there, and you are able to download the browser, and then that gets you Fantasy Life Plus for free. You get our rankings, our tools, our projections, everything you need to continue dominating there for free 100%. We're going to continue on here, Adam. I want to go through maybe giving some guys their flowers here, talk about how, well they've performed, and it might be in a short span, but guys we need to pay attention to over these next couple weeks as well. We're going to do that coming up next. I hope everyone's having a great start to their Wednesday here. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam Ronis with you. Fantasy Life on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio, getting you ready for week 7 in the NFL. See some questions coming in still. We're going to talk through guys that I just want, we've got good stats on them. Give them their flowers a little bit here. I see a question from Robert, though, asking, would you drop Jerry Jeudy for Wan'Dale Robinson? I don't know if Jerry Jeudy was ever going to have a week, Adam. Would it not be this week, though? I understand the question. Jerry Judy's been bad.
Yeah, I would make the move. I think Judy's it's been awful for him. And with Gabriel at quarterback, I don't see it getting better. 50 receiving yards or fewer in 4 straight games, no touchdowns, drop passes. Yeah, it's brutal.
Yeah, it's not been good. The thing with Jerry Jeudy, and people look at the matchup and say the Browns are at home going against the Dolphins, so I get that. But I think long term, you would much rather have Wan'Dale Robinson rest of season. He's probably higher for you in your rankings.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Brutal. So, yeah. I can't believe we're here, Adam, but we are saying yes. Wan'Dale Robinson for Jerry Jeudy sounds good, which is absolutely nuts right now. I want to, and again, at KValenzuela17, at Adam Ronis over there on X to answer any more of your questions. But we were talking about Davante Adams in the break. And again, if you have Davante Adams, you know that you're starting him, especially with Puka Nacua down. Yeah, there was a report during the break, too, that he's a long shot to play now. So kind of what we expected, but we're going to start seeing these guys probably trend in the wrong or right direction, depending on who it is today and tomorrow. These injury reports will be ones that we really pay attention to. Davante Adams, though, I told you, 8 targets inside the 10-yard line. Hasn't come down with, I thought there would be a little bit more there from him, Davante Adams coming down with touchdowns, but it just hasn't happened yet. He's got 3 on the year, which is not bad. You're going to take that every time. 9.1 fantasy points, 22, 14, 15, 13, 7. So it's gone down a little bit in the past couple of weeks, but again, they play Jacksonville. This is the international game, and you really like that he is no stranger to the red zone, and that's something that we expected when he came over here, but he's getting the targets at him. It's really just the connection. Hopefully he starts coming down with more.
Yeah, it's been disappointing. So Adams has a drop rate of 13.3%, 5th highest in the NFL. He is also only catching 48.1% of his targets. Other receivers near him in that range, Jerry Jeudy, Calvin Ridley, that's not good company to be in. But I think you just hope that it gets better and that they're still developing a rapport. But yeah, he doesn't have Aaron Rodgers right now. So maybe he's missing his buddy.
His best friend. Maybe they need to go to lunch, maybe a dinner together, him and Stafford.
Well, look,
he's really just getting comfortable.
He gets the opportunity now, and he's got to come through with Puka Nacua out. But yeah, he's got 4 drops this year too.
Yeah, that's not good. That's unlike him too. I think it's more of a connection thing than a. You think it's more a connection thing than a? I've seen someone say age cliff. I don't think we're there yet.
I don't know. Look, the thing with the age cliff is it's a lot of times it's not gradual. It just happens just like that. So is it possible? Yes. Again, we'll see this week. They're going to be relying on him, but his yards after the catch are down too. He's at 2.8. That's his worst mark since 2023.
And like I said, 8 targets from inside the 10-yard line. That leads the league. But when you look at those numbers, he's only managed 1 touchdown in those opportunities. So that's a 12.5% touchdown conversion rate. His previous seasons have obviously been way better than that. But you get the week this week where, and maybe for a couple, but again, they go on a bye in week 8. So at least this week, you're firing up Davante Adams. And I would even say Jordan Whittington as well. I think in those deeper formats, he's the one. I picked him up in one league. So just going to trot him out there and hope it works out. I think it will. It'll be fine. I just need like 6 fantasy points. That's all I need.
6?
Give me something. As a baseline, yes, I'll take 6.
I want 12.
Well, 12 would be nice, but I'm being realistic. Now you're the optimistic one.
No, I'm saying like he could do it.
I'll take 6. I'm good with 6.
He had 3 catches for 23 yards last week on 4 targets. But that was, I mean, Puka, I think that injury happened, second quarter?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
And Puka
and
did
Puka
come
came
back in
yes,
for some goal line plays. But
it didn't
yeah,
work
they
out.
only
It was
passed the
goal
ball.
line.
I mean, Stafford only had 26 pass attempts and only 17 completions. So you weren't going to get production from everyone had a bad game for the Rams outside of Kyren Williams. Tyler Higbee had the biggest day of the pass catching options.
Which was really annoying, by the way, picking up Stafford to stream against this defense that we just pick on, and then you look back and you're like, wait, what happened here? So again, Devontae Adams, you're firing him up. Just if we're giving compliments out to fantasy players, can we just Dallas Goedert? Every time I look at the top tight ends in the league and I see Dallas Goedert's name, I say, oh, really? And then it's like, oh yeah, no, it's just going to continue. He's second in PPR fantasy points per game behind one Jake Ferguson, naturally, just like we drew it up here, Adam. But he's again second in overall PPR points. And then he had the league leading 34.4% of the team targets in week 6. That's crazy.
I don't know where this came from because this has never been what he does when the team is completely healthy. I mean, he has 5 total touchdowns. That ties his career high, which came back in 2019. He has 33 receptions in 5 games. He had 52 in 10 games last year. No, 42 in 10 games, and he's got 24. So I was looking at targets. So he has 42 receptions last year in 10 games. He already is more than halfway there in 5 games. So, and his career high is 59 in 2023. So they've designed these like shovel passes too at the goal line for him. You can't expect this to continue though. 20 targets the last 2 games.
Even if he gets 15 targets though, like I'm keeping him up in my rankings. I said that to you last week. You have to
right now. Right. I do have him in a league and I've been starting him, surprisingly getting this production. He's probably carried my team that has all these receiver injuries.
You're so excited.
Well, yeah. I mean, I had no choice but to play him last week because my other tight end was on bye. And I'm like, 26 points. Thank you, Dallas Goedert. So, yeah, I will be playing him. But you can't expect this to continue. He has 5 touchdowns on 24 receptions. He's going to get a touchdown every 5 receptions. Come on. It's not going to continue. I hope it does, but
I was going to say, they hate our fantasy team, so it's not going to be A.J. Brown or Devontae
And if you
Smith.
don't get A.J. Brown the ball, then forget it. He's going to start to explode.
We need to send him a new book for halftime. I think that's what needs to happen to get him going. But yeah, Dallas Goedert, just had to shout him out because what he's been doing is insane. And again, second in overall PPR points is just absolute madness right now going into week 7. We're going to continue on. It's not me, it's you. Players that we're just kind of fed up with, Adam. I want to say droppable players because we've had a ton of drop questions. This is going to be dependent on your team and your league. So this is obviously just going to be a broader conversation, but players we are not necessarily happy with right now. We're going to break down those names here coming up next. We know fantasy football is your life. That's why you're listening to us right here. Fantasy Life on Sirius XM, Fantasy Sports Radio. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam Ronis with you on this Wednesday. Getting you ready for all things week 7. I wanted to name this segment droppable players, Adam, but I think that's you said this earlier in the show. It's just such a tough conversation to have. We have gotten a ton of questions on players that you can drop or people asking if this player can be dropped. And I just want to preface this conversation with, we're going to talk about players here that just aren't obviously performing up to the standards that you want. But dropping players and the conversations that we have about it is just so it's so difficult to have because we just don't know your league and your team. You know, if you're in some of these bigger formats like Adam and I, where you were in the 20 round drafts, you're obviously not going to be dropping
anyone.
You can't drop anyone. I mean, I told Adam that I was going to rage drop Travion Henderson, and he said, please do it because I'll go pick him up. But if you're in those deeper formats, you just can't drop anyone like that with the potential that they have to potentially have a big game coming up. But in some of the more shallow formats, some of the 12 team, the 10 team leagues, I think, you know, the conversations can be had. And the one that I've seen a lot, and again, if you're in the deeper formats, we're just going to have a conversation overall about expectations for these players. But I've seen a lot of questions on Tyrone Tracy. And if Tyrone Tracy is someone, obviously, I don't think he should be near your starting lineups unless you absolutely have to. But with the takeover from Cam Scatterbo, it just feels like it's not going to go back. It's not the conversations that we've been having with Jaylen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell, or the ones that we're having with Rico Dowdle, and well, maybe it might be closer to Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard with how it's turned. But Tyrone Tracy just does not feel like he's going to be getting that work back unless something happens to Cam Scatterbo, and we never want injuries. That just feels like one where, yes, if you're in a shallow format, I think he is droppable, and if not, you're just not putting him in your starting lineups.
Yeah, because right now he's a handcuff. The only way he is going to have value is if something happens to Scatterbo. Otherwise, it's just not happening. Now, like you said, in the deeper formats, we have every backup running back and sometimes the third string running back because we are just waiting on injuries. If you're in a more shallow format, 10-team leagues, 8-team leagues, yeah, there's Tracy came back and he played 32% of the snaps. And you see what Scatterbo is doing and the energy he's bringing. So Tracy is just a backup right now. And again, we also have 6 teams on bye next week. So yeah, in those formats, he can be cut.
Jacoby Myers, what are we doing with, I mean, that's really a Geno Smith conversation more than anything else.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's always been a volume producer. And if he's not getting at least 7, 8, 9 targets, then things don't really come your way for him. But that's been bad. 3 weeks of 7 fantasy points and 1 9-point game in week 3. Other than that, it's been so downhill. He's got 4 receptions in the last 3 games.
Like you said, he needs volume. And the worst part of this, he is had an advantage with Bowers out and has not taken advantage of it. But a lot of it is on Geno Smith. He's been brutal.
Horrible. He can't be near your lineup. And I understand the drop questions because there might be better options out there available for you. But they play Kansas City this week and then they have their bye in week 8. That's been bad. And you thought at the beginning he started 17.7, 12.8. I thought it would be better. It's not, unfortunately. Appreciate everyone hanging out with us here today. Make sure you stick around. RotoWire Fantasy Sports Today is coming up next. We appreciate you all. We will be here same time tomorrow. Have a great day.